Coming live from the HPU Esports Arena, powered by DSC Hawaii on the Hawaii Pacific University campus at Aloha Tower Marketplace, here's your host, Hawaii Pacific University's Vice President and Chief Marketing Communications Officer, Jeffrey Rich.
Aloha, Sharks Nation. It's great to be with you for another edition of Sharks Weekly. We are broadcasting live from the campus of Hawaii Pacific University at the HPU Esports Arena, powered by DSE Hawaii. I am your host, Jeff Rich, and we have another exciting show for you today. We will be speaking with HPU's head women's volleyball coach, Mr. Jenic Tumaneng, and he's brought along a couple of standout athletes, and we will introduce everybody shortly. But let's first give a big hello to Mr. Paul Brecht, sitting over at the control booth here. How are you this morning, Paul?
Doing well. Excited to have these lovely ladies and Coach Tumaneng on to chat some volleyball. We'll have a lot of their action upcoming this weekend on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network, so this is kind of a nice appetizer to that, right?
That is right. You guys are going to be broadcasting the Friday and the Sunday games. So all right. So we're going to get a little airtime for the volleyball team. So this is good prep time for you guys, Paul. Well, so also I want to introduce sitting in the co-pilot seat this morning in place of Mr. Greg Fischbach, who is away this week. We have one of the key critical players behind the scenes of Sharks Weekly. She is HPU Sports Information Director. Please welcome to the show her inaugural opportunity to comment on the show and be a sidekick, so to speak, Miss Baylei Forman. Baylei, how are you?
Good. Thank you for having me.
Oh, well, first of all, thank you for everything that you do to put the show together. So for our listeners that aren't aware, I mean, there's a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes to prepare, with the coaches, the athletes that are coming on the show, updates on teams and stats, and just putting together some information that allows us to have an insightful conversation. And all of that work is done by Baylei in the week leading up to the show. Let's give her a big hand, first of all. It's amazing work. What's it like as being a sports information director? I imagine you have a lot of demands on your time to be out and about, watching games and talking with athletes. What's that like?
I think the athletes is what makes the job. Talking with them and getting to know them individually. Each sport, they all have a different story, and just being able to hear it is the best part about it.
Now, you have a background in volleyball yourself. You coach, you play. Tell us a bit about your volleyball history.
I played high school, went away to college, played college, and then I had the amazing opportunity to be a graduate assistant at a D2. So did that for 2 years, and then I came home and finished my master's, and now I'm here.
Wow, and you joined us, I think, like mid-season last year, or early season. At some point last year, you kind of stepped in and really helped get the show organized, and now we're in your first full year helping to produce the show, really.
Yeah, I stepped in right in the middle of baseball season. Yeah.
What's the toughest part of your job?
The different sports, understanding different sports that I have never watched before. Soccer was one of them, and the coaches were just very understanding, and they sat down and was able to talk to me about the different stats and stuff, and understanding what needs to be done before game time.
Wow. So, so your official duties relate to, coordinating with the teams, gathering stats. I mean, tell what is a sports information director's job? Specifically, what are the things that you're required to do, and then what are some of the things that you like to do to help create more awareness or information dissemination about programs?
The stats is a big one. A lot of the coaches, especially during baseball season, they would get upset about the stats not being proper. So that was a big one. Making sure the website's all up to date. I have a hard time with names sometimes, and you want to spell something a certain way, but it's not always spelt that way.
Yep.
But I think the biggest thing that's been fun for me is, like I said, the athletes, and getting them more engaged with the social media and pushing their information out there more and what they're doing.
I imagine that's created a whole new dimension to your job, where years ago an SID didn't have to deal with the social media piece. But do you look at the use of social media more, for dissemination of, stats and information about teams' outcomes, or are you involved in, the either promotion of teams and more the fun sort of recreational or social part of team activities, or does that get put over to another member of the athletics department?
Yeah, I do both.
Okay, you're a busy person.
Yes. I know some sports, like I think baseball does a pretty good job, basketball does a pretty good job about promoting their outside activities. But for the most part, I'm pretty much the one doing both.
Yep. And I know you coordinate a lot with our social media person on the marketing side to really blend what's happening in the athletics department and the programs with the university information. So that is a demanding job, and we thank you for all the amazing work that you do. And we're excited to continue to talk with you and have your insights as we begin to talk a little bit about volleyball here. So let's bring in our guest today. We are with women's volleyball, and I'll say that all three members of our guest panel today are hard court as well as volleyball. Coach Tumaneng coaches the beach volleyball team as well, and both players play beach and hard court, so we can talk a little beach and hard court. But let me first start. So Coach Tumaneng has led HPU's women's volleyball team for 9 seasons now. We'll be talking about his leadership. There's a big charity event coming up, the Dig Pink Game. We'll talk a bit about that on October 26th. And then we have 2 standout student athletes with us. Allie Rumpel, a senior middle blocker, and Brynne Bio, a defensive specialist and libero. Did I already butcher that? Did I get it out? All right.
Pretty good.
All right, we're going to talk about a libero because I'm not, I like volleyball. I play volleyball. But I wouldn't say that I'm as knowledgeable. So that was a new term to me. But anyway, Coach, you have been here, I think, when I look at the stats, you were named HBU's head volleyball coach in December 2016 after serving as interim coach. You've had a lot of success with particularly with blending the importance and the outcomes of the program, the volleyball program, with academic excellence as well, winning the prestigious AVCA Team Academic Award for the 2018-19, 19-20, and 23-24 school years. And that award recognizes a team GPA of 3.3 or higher. And I will say that is a major accomplishment in athletics today, given the demands placed on student athletes. So, Coach, welcome to the show. It's good to have you back.
Well, thank you for having us again.
Well,
great.
You always, bring interesting insights to the conversation, and let's before we bring the players and introduce the players, how are you feeling about the year? You guys are in the season now. You're kind of coasting through, but how's the team looking, and how are things going?
Yeah, we're about to hit our midway through our season in the conference. Our team are getting a lot of challenges individually as well as a team, but adversity brings the best out of them. I give them credit. They're showing up to practice every day, just trying to work hard and compete, get better as a group, get better as a team. We're not looking too much as the record. We want to just compete and be the best we can.
Yep. So it's a challenge, a personal accomplishment.
Yeah.
So when you think about some highlights so far through this early season, what stands out as really positives?
I think the biggest highlight for me when I see them compete is that we're pretty much in the game a lot, and then there's that crucial time in those games, especially when the game stops at 25, when the I don't want to say mistakes continually happen. I think it's more that's where they need to kind of understand this is where the competition brings out the best out of you. So I think that's where once that understanding light bulb comes on their head, it's there. I mean, they see it doing it early in the game or so, but just trying to be consistent. That's our main focus right now.
And I think, so much in sports is mental, and especially at high, consistent levels of competition where, the talent margin may not be that great between teams. It's coaching, and then it's the players learning to play under pressure. I know you guys have had already some 5-set matches and all that have kind of taught the team some mental discipline. That's got to be helpful.
Sure, yeah. And, going to these 5 matches is where they make those decisions. We try to encourage them and guide them through those decisions. But when the stress level, the competition just brings out different things out of their think process, and that's where I might have to go into back to school and go to sports psychology and kind of get to understand that part. But that's the joy of coaching for me.
Yeah.
Just trying to help them get over this hump. And as a team.
Yep. I imagine, today a coach has got to be not just a coach of that team, but a psychologist, a counselor, a therapist, just a sympathetic, shoulder to lean on sometimes when players just need an uplift and to get refocused.
Yeah, for sure. These girls here, I think they know me pretty well. So
nice.
Nothing's taken personal.
All right. Well, we are going to bring the student athletes into the conversation here in a moment, but we're going to take a commercial break here first. But before we do, let me give a big shout out to another one of our amazing sponsors, Equus. Equus is Waikiki's best lifestyle boutique hotel. Enjoy big savings year-round at a prime location. And thank you for your sponsorship of Sharks Weekly. So we'll take a quick commercial break, and then when we will bring our student-athletes into the conversation, you're listening to Sharks Weekly. I'm your host, Jeff Fritsch.
You're listening to Sharks Weekly on the Hawaii Sports Radio Networks, 95.1 FM and AM 760.
And welcome back to Sharks Weekly. We're talking women's volleyball today. So let me bring our student athletes into the conversation. First, let me introduce Allie Rumpel. Allie is a political science major hailing from Athens, Georgia. It's dog country, if I'm not mistaken.
Go Dogs, baby.
There you go. She plays middle blocker at a height of 5'11". High school career was at Athens Academy in Athens, and also played basketball and soccer during her high school career. Welcome to the show, Allie.
Thank you, and thank you for having me.
Well, we are really excited to have you, and we're going to fire some questions at you guys, but let me also bring your teammate in. So Brynne Bio. Brynne is a graduate student studying business analytics, hails from Ewa Beach here in Hawaii, and plays that dreaded position we were trying to figure out earlier, the libero, defensive specialist. We'll learn about that here in a minute. But standing at a height of 5'4", from James Campbell High in Ewa Beach, please welcome Miss Brynne Bio.
Oh, thank you. So honored to be here.
It's great to have you guys. So, so let's start with, first of all, Brynne, libero. Let's start with what we were talking about before.
Easiest way to explain it, goalkeeper in soccer. Same way, we're just your defensive specialist that doesn't require a sub, so we're utilized very heavily in the game. But we just wear a different colored jersey to identify that marker a little bit easier, and so that the officials, the coaches, as well as the other team can identify you as a libero, knowing that you may be the strongest defensive specialist out there, like on the court physically, and you just come in and you just dig some balls.
Wow. So the designation means that you can be moved around during the game?
Yeah, so instead of subbing in as others would, you can just get thrown in. Okay. Rather than taking up a sub, you could just get thrown in for anyone, but it has to be in the back row.
Interesting. All right, I didn't know that.
That's totally true, because being a libero in my so-called team, they can be thrown anywhere at any time. So when she comes out, take a sip of water, she's not even actually knowing that, hey, I want you back in. So those are some quick changes that we have to do.
Well, that's got to be a little stressful, just stepping in there and.
No, I just stopped drinking water. Like, I just drink my sweat.
What about you, Baylei? Were you a libero, or did you ever play that role on in your volleyball days back in high school or college? Or?
Heck no, it's such a stressful position. You are the first person to touch the ball, and if that ball does not come off of you well, you're not setting your team up for success.
There you go. Well, let me come back to Allie. What I want to ask a little bit about is, balancing life as a senior athlete, a poli-sci major. How do you manage time between volleyball, studies, and your personal life? What does it take to make all of that work?
I would say I'm very blessed to have a coach that's very understanding and very accommodating. And, I work 2 jobs, so I would say that's very hard as well.
Wait a minute. You are a student athlete, so you're in the classroom full time. Mm-hmm. You're playing on a volleyball team, and you work 2 jobs. How is that possible? Are there enough hours in the day?
I just got to pay my rent. So, but as I said, my team is also very supportive, and, they know this kind of stuff that I go through. So I just feel very blessed to have, the support system that I do.
Yeah. So. What drew you to HPU? How have you experienced, Hawaii, and has it lived up to what you thought it was coming from Georgia?
Oh my gosh, it's been even better than I could have even imagined. And, before I got here, me and Coach Jenic have been we're talking for 2 years. So ever since I was a sophomore, junior in high school, me and Coach have been talking. And, I actually just saw it on a brochure, and I was like, oh my gosh, this looks so pretty during my recruiting process. So I sent an email, and thankfully he reached back out to me, which, he gets a lot of emails, so he's very selective with who he picks, and I'm glad that I was one of them. So
it was the height, right?
Yeah.
You looked so okay.
Yeah, it was a constant email every day, like, this girl must want to come here, So, yeah, I had to open it up.
I imagine, in like basketball and volleyball, there probably is like, okay, people at a certain height and above go to the top of the priority chain with the probability of success on the court. That's interesting. So Brynne, you've played multiple positions, as we were talking about. How does your connection with your teammates, like Allie, strengthen your performance on the court when you're thrown into high pressure situations or situations where you're coming in maybe and they've been in the heat of the game and you're kind of stepping in now and trying to pick up that level of intensity?
Well, first with Allie as a middle and me as a libero, it's kind of where our game takes on a block and defense relationship. Like, we cannot play without one another, and it goes in hand. We need to communicate to each other. Coming in so often, especially in high pressure moments, it's all about being able to control my emotions to be there for my teammates and to be able to show that relaxation, that calmness to spread to them, as well as just helping them take off a lot of stress that they might put on themselves or a lot of pressure, because at the end of the day, this is our game. We've been playing it for years. Like, we know what skill we have, we know the work we've put in, so all you got to do is just remember your basics, remember where you started, what you did to get here, and just keep pushing through the game.
Yeah. How much communication is happening on the court, and is it all verbal? Are there hand signals? Give us a sense of how you guys keep structure to what you're doing out there.
Yeah, tell me about it.
The coach wants to know.
I'm very verbal during the game. If I'm not during the play, I'm very verbal after the play. I'll communicate with my hitters, my setter, and the other passers as well in the small snippets between the plays that we have. If not, I am yelling during practices and during the plays, the same things over and over again, because when you constantly hear it, it kind of puts it in your brain like, oh, I have to think about this now. But we have some hand signals. It's kind of just, but we'll also throw in some verbal with it when we can't see, because not all of us have the best eyesight. So.
Well, are the hand signals for placement, or what play that you're trying to set up, or what are they communicating? Most
of the time, we're communicating a count on our fingers, and this is counting where our hitters are and separating where they are on the court.
Okay.
And then. That's kind of only our hand signals, besides our setters, who will give their hand signals for their sets to their hitters, but we know nothing about that personally.
Interesting. And Coach, over the years, do you correlate team communication on the court with success, that you found over the years that the team that really does communicate throughout the course of the match really sees more success?
For sure. Obviously, communication is important in everything we do, but we don't want cluttered communication. So, we try to tell them, I hear you all having all this chatter, but if we're not listening to it, then it come, pretty much like a blur.
Yep.
So that's some areas that we have to kind of clean up. I think once they understand that, they'll got more precise in terms of there's no confusion.
Yep. I want to come back to you, Brynne. You're a local girl who's come back for one more year to finish your college career. What are some of the memories that really stand out to you over the course of your college career?
Over my course of college, I would have to say my most significant moment was my injury, which happened my freshman year. A lot of people wouldn't highlight that as their favorite moment, but it was just a really big blessing to see volleyball from a different perspective of the sideline and staying on the sideline. And the way that I'd come out of my injury was just so powerful that, I had never imagined myself accomplishing so much so quickly, especially going through that kind of hardship. So that had to be my favorite memory.
Yeah, that's just the personal courage and going through a process like that really teaches you a lot about yourself, your ability to overcome adversity, and that brings success in anything that you do. And that speaks to leadership, Coach. You've emphasized leadership, especially from your seniors, and you've got 2 leaders here today as upperclassmen. How do you foster a culture of leadership within the team, and can you share some examples of how players like Allie and Brynne have really stepped up this season?
I think it's more just giving respect and trust. If they show their trust to their teammates and fellow comrades, whether it's students or just the general student body and stuff, they'll get that back. and just be polite. And on the court, I think that trust kind of resembles that, hey, they're going to continue to fight and then go through this up and down season or however it is. But in overall thing is success is, giving it all your best, and as I tell them that one person could jump higher than the other, but is that lower jump, is that, a failing of them? No, it's a success because they jump the highest they can.
Yeah.
So we're just trying to foster that and just kind of make sure they understand it. As upperclassmen, they're just kind of passing the baton and make sure that baton don't drop, so it continues the culture of the program, and and see how it works.
Yeah, it's so true. And Brynne and Allie, when you guys think about the leaders that have emerged on the team, I know both of you are leaders. How does the team really rally around that? And do you see a team structure where you have underclassmen maybe coming and looking for that guidance and that leadership, and then players that just naturally step up? Tell us about your point of view and how you've approached trying to be team leaders.
I would say we do have a promising team where there's a lot of people that are seeking to take the leadership role, and if not, they're going to people and they're communicating with their upperclassmen, asking for experiences and maybe some tips and whatnot. Personally, I feel like me and Allie have really stepped up this year. We took a lot of accountability, and we also dedicated a lot of commitment to being here, being that, school is very hard, especially in your master's and your senior year. Allie works 2 jobs, But yeah, with leadership, I feel like we have a lot of roles on the team, each one in its own position, and we kind of work hand in hand all together as a team to work on leadership as one, rather than just some people here and there. We try and bring everyone up as a leader. And
Allie, do you find that even with underclassmen, they're coming to you for guidance beyond just volleyball and more life guidance, and how do you manage a busy life and just make college work with all these demands that are placed on you?
Yeah, I definitely think I've had some conversations. Excuse me. I've definitely had some conversations with some of the younger girls on my team, because it is really hard to move out here. Their parents are all the way, across the ocean. So I think I used to live at ATM. We have a lot of girls that live here. So just kind of, encouraging them to go out and meet people at the dorms, and just encouraging them to, make some friends, to, kind of fill that void of, their family being across the ocean. So, yeah.
Yeah. What about, Baylei, back when you think about your coaching experience and your playing days, what really stood out to you in the qualities that you tried to demonstrate as a leader, or that you saw in the teammates and players that you played with that have assumed those roles?
The first 2 years that I went out and I went away, I was so homesick. And for me, it was the coach that helped really ground me, and having teammates that were also from Hawaii. So it sounds like you guys are really being that rock for them, and that's so important, because like you said, having them come from everywhere across America is so hard, and it's such a challenge to even make that decision.
Yeah, and especially just in a place that is so distant like Hawaii here. It's an amazing experience, but it can certainly be a lonely experience, especially for folks that are away from home for that first time. All right, I'm being told that we must break again for another commercial. Let's give another big shout out to another amazing sponsor, Waiea Water. Don't leave the quality of your drinking water and your health to chance. Waiea Water's atmospheric water generators create clean, pure, eco-friendly drinking water right from the air. It's an amazing product, and it'll keep you healthy. All right, we'll take a break, and we will be back and talk more volleyball. You're listening to Sharks Weekly.
You're listening to Sharks Weekly on the Hawaii Sports Radio Networks, 95.1 FM and AM 760.
And we are back live on Sharks Weekly. And before we jump back into our conversation, I just want to remind you that Sharks Weekly, today's episode, is also brought to you by Hawaii Pacific University's Holomua Commitment. HPU puts a private education in reach by guaranteeing admission and at least a $15,000 scholarship for local high school students with a 2.75 GPA or higher. Guaranteed admission, guaranteed scholarship. Visit hpu.edu/affordable for details. Hawaii Pacific University, Hawaii's affordable private university. All right, there's a great shout out for a great undergraduate experience here at Hawaii Pacific University. Let's start there. You guys. So Brynne, you did your undergrad here at HPU. Allie, you're a grad student. You were also undergrad at HPU, or did you transfer in or come in for the grad program?
This is my senior year this year.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Oh, so are you dual? So you're, or are you starting a grad program?
Hopefully next year I'll be starting a grad program.
So you're a true senior. Gotcha. As you think about wrapping up your undergraduate experience, what really stands out to you about HPU and the Hawaii experience?
Oh my gosh, a lot stands out, but talking about academics wise, I would say, again, my professors it's really cool how, the classes are a bit smaller, so you get that kind of intimate, what's the word? I don't know. Relationship with your professor, and they really care, and they're really active, and you can really go to them for anything, any issues you're having, and they're just there for you. So it's awesome.
Wow! And you're tracking to be a lawyer? Is that
yes?
And a little rich? Just a
really rich.
Really? All right. Well, that's a profession that you can make that happen, right?
Exactly.
What got you interested in the law, and why do you think that would be a compelling career?
I think it's interesting because a lot of people don't really know the laws, and I don't know the laws either right now, but I definitely want to help people know their rights and know the options that they do have. So I've been wanting to be a lawyer since I was like 6th grade, and hopefully I do a good job on the LSAT coming up, and I'm really excited for that.
Very nice. It's a career that presents a lot of opportunity and a lot of impact opportunities in particular. Well, that'll be interesting if you are pursuing that degree. One of my sons is a lawyer, and one of my daughters is about to graduate and head on to law school. So,
wow, that's
interesting
awesome.
Careers. Well, Brynne, so let's talk about you. So you are a business analytics major. Tell us about, what's business analytics all about? How are you going to put that degree to use? Are you going to go on to grad school?
I think I'm good at this one right here.
Okay.
This master's. Business analytics is kind of just like that background scene of business. So it's not exactly, your marketing or your communications, your finance. It's kind of that backside, kind of like cyber tech and like IT, but it's kind of just analyzing the data and helping use that data to build up better either products or revenues for the company. And it's using data to kind of like how we do in sports, like where you use your stats to reflect on how you're doing now and see what you can change later based on the stats. That's the same way with business.
Yep. And you're tracking towards a career as a research analyst?
Yes, hopefully something hand in hand with sports, but I also wouldn't mind a psychology route because I do have my bachelor's in psych.
Okay.
Yeah.
Those are kind of different career paths.
Yes.
So, when you think which is going to win, I guess is the question, because you have to make a clear decision at some point.
I didn't really like any sciences going into college, and I was a bio major at first, and I was like, I don't really like this, like I'm not good at science at all. And I was like, what's the one subject that I liked in high school? And it was psychology. So I took it up, and I decided to go a route of either counseling, or I was really passionate towards sports psychology. But school is expensive, so I was not gonna go into a doctorate program to go find sports psychology, especially because we don't have one here in Hawaii, and I really enjoy being home. So I thought, what is a better option here in Hawaii especially? And we have a lot of businesses in Hawaii. HPU is a very strong business school, and business analytics is something that kind of goes hand in hand with psychology, just that analyzing part. You're just changing your mental aspects for numbers.
Yep. And now just to be clear, that's the master's in business analytics that you're in, not... So it's interesting that, I think, in Baylei, you had a master's degree as well. Was it an MBA?
Yes, MBA.
So it's interesting that more and more, I think, students are recognizing that in today's age, you have to really consider a master's degree to be successful in so many careers. And I think that's interesting because there's so much conversation today about the value of a college degree, with a lot of people questioning, should I even go to college? I think it's kind of a foolish question. It does depend a little bit on what you plan to do. But, even just in becoming a more well-rounded person, an intellectually curious person, the diversity of subjects that you can study at an undergrad level just to make you informed. That alone, I think, is worth the experience. I realize a lot of people can't afford that, but prioritizing the opportunity to go to college presents a lot of opportunities that I think a lot of people get shut out of. Do you find value in your MBA, even in what you're doing as a sports information director, Baylei?
Definitely. I think my MBA helped a lot with time management. And I think that's the biggest thing that I took away from school, especially being a student athlete. Learning how to time manage everything when you're on the road, having to do tests or homework assignments and all that. That was the biggest thing that I took away.
Time management, and that's the biggest thing that I see. We have a lot of student workers that come in and work with us in the marketing department here at the university, and it's interesting because a lot come in and don't have those time management skills. They don't have the communication skills, and it's so rewarding to be able to show a lot of younger people, whatever you're doing in life, but certainly working in a professional setting, learning those skills and how to collaborate and communicate and work in an effective way is something that I see a lot of students pick up quickly. I thought it'd be fun to maybe jump to a few rapid fire questions for you guys. We always like to find out things about beaches and meals, and so we've come to that time in the show where we get to learn a little bit and some quick fire answers. So I'm going to go around the room. Maybe Paul, we're going to start with you on my far right. And this may go back to your days of sports and all, but give us your favorite pregame meal.
Oh, man. So that one's funny. I have two different thought processes there where I go the healthy, you'll go with the chicken and the pasta, and you want to be nice and full the night before. I don't eat
Load
a
up
ton.
on the carbs, right?
Yeah, or we'll go back to my varsity basketball days where I used to crush 2 pieces of pizza right before a game for whatever reason as a psychotic 15-year-old. So those were my most famous pregame meals.
All right, there you go. Baylei, what do you think?
I didn't eat.
You didn't eat before you played?
I couldn't eat and play. I just didn't eat.
All right, well, there's an easy answer. Do you think it affected your play?
I felt light. I felt like I was jumping higher. Maybe I was, maybe I wasn't, but...
All right, Brynne, what do you got?
If we're here for a home game, I'm definitely getting a little green smoothie. If we're away, it's a boiled egg.
There you go.
One boiled egg.
A good protein, right?
With salt.
I could see that. That's a good thing to eat
from
before.
The hotel is for free.
Yep.
Salt packets in my purse.
And an apple from the front desk.
I couldn't even get to the apples. I just wanted I literally would go into breakfast and I would steal about 7 eggs. Jenic knows I had them all in my pockets.
All right, Allie, what's on your menu?
If I'm here, definitely spicy ahi, poke, or sushi from Foodland, and then a white monster.
What's a white monster?
It's like it's like an energy drink, but it's just the flavor of it. But It's really good.
All right, Jenic.
Well, actually, I don't have a pregame meal myself.
Nothing?
I just have a good breakfast.
Okay.
And just kind of my mind feeds itself as far as we got a game day and going through the preparation through my mind.
That's preparation for you. So I played sports back in the day where sports medicine and science and all weren't really much at play. So I think we didn't know any better. I would have a can of Coke and a Hostess apple pie before a game, and then
you sound like me. 2 slices of pizza, baby.
We didn't know any better, right? And I mean, God, I remember even when I 20 some years ago, I coached Little League football, and I would have assistant coaches, dads that didn't really know much about coaching, and you'd assign one to bring the halftime energy, and they bring sugar snacks and Coke. It's like, no, you would bring some oranges and things that'll give some energy. So you learn that over the years. All right, next rapid fire question. This is just for Allie and Brynne. Who is the funniest teammate you guys have?
It's Allie.
Is it sitting right here?
Allie is the funniest person ever.
Yeah, that's so sweet, but that's not true.
Do you have a joke for us, Allie?
Now that you put me on the spot, I don't. But
no.
I would say funniest teammate. I would say.
Hard question.
I'd say Lauren Harris.
Lauren, okay, what makes her funny?
I've never met a person like Lauren. She's just very quirky, I would say.
Quirky. What's quirky? I'm going to keep asking. Okay. We got to draw something out.
She does this weird thing where
Facial.
she pretends,
There you go.
she pretends like she's the anime character. I don't know. It's kind of weird. She does like she's a cosplayer. So
I've seen that. Yeah.
Oh boy.
Anime. Okay. All right, we're going to take one more commercial break, and then we're going to come back with a few more rapid-fire questions. We're having a little fun here. Okay, so let's see. One more sponsorship read before we head out. I just want to thank Island Insurance for being a Sharks Weekly sponsor. Island Insurance, your local experts protecting local people. You're listening to Sharks Weekly, and we will be right back.
You're listening to Sharks Weekly on the Hawaii Sports Radio Networks, 95.1 FM and AM 760.
And we are back for the final segment of today's show. So, hey, we want to introduce a new segment here and open it up for our listeners to ask questions of our guests. So, if you have a question you would like to ask via text, you can text that to 808-888-5481. Again, that is 808-888-5481. You can send us a question for today's show or something for next week, and we'll ask next week as well. So we'll give that a moment to germinate here and see what comes in. And in the meantime, I want to come back to a rapid-fire question round. All right, so this one is for you, Brynne. So what is the best thing about living in Hawaii?
This is home, you know. This is where all my family is. And I just love being here. It's so sunny all the time. So warm.
Just playing before family. It's got to be a special experience to play before
It is,
somebody,
you know.
friends and family.
They haven't been able to watch me for the first couple years of college, and it's just a blessing to be back here, to have the opportunity for them to come and watch me.
Nice. All right, and what about you, Allie? So you're coming from an interesting place, fun place to live. I've been to Athens. That's a college town. Like I said, go Dogs.
Go Dogs, baby.
Dogs.
Best football team out there. But yeah, Athens was really fun. It's completely different here. Much more diversity in Hawaii, which I really appreciate. And as Brynne said, the weather, it doesn't get much better. You know, you can go to class before practice, hit one of the nicest beaches in the world. Like, it just doesn't get much better. So very blessed to be out here for sure.
I think all of us practice gratitude every day living here and
Yes.
stop and appreciate the beauty of the place that we live in and the amazing people that we live with. The culture and the friendliness of Hawaii is really special and unique. All right, well, it's time to see. You know, Paul, do we have any questions that have come in via our new text ask question via text segment?
Funny enough, we
We gotta name this, by the way. We'll come up with something for next week.
Hey, maybe a sponsor will come out and they'll want to sponsor this segment. We actually do have a couple for both the ladies and for Coach. We'll take the ladies off the hot chair just for a second. Coach, someone did text in. They asked the reason you coach, what's your why, and just kind of the background to how you got into this a little bit more. I know we've gotten into it in a couple of your appearances on this show, but just kind of what's your why? Why do you do this? What drives you each day, and why are you so passionate about HPU volleyball?
Yeah, HPU volleyball. That's a very good question, and my answer to that is just giving back to the school that I graduated from. Again, this is way back when. I'm not going to say when, but you know, and just being involved in people's lives, especially young athletes, and once they go through this program, I want to try to stay in touch as much as we can and see how they're doing. And seeing their growth in their career as well. A lot of them stay in contact with me throughout the world, and their marriage, their children, and all that as well. They're asking me to recruit their children and all those kind of things. So I think just fostering them and just seeing them be a good citizen and then they're part of their country.
It's the most rewarding part of coaching is the relationships, right? In a lot of ways, that's what I always found to be most thankful for when I played. Speaking of playing sports, I'm going to switch it back to the ladies now, as someone texted in asking if you were to play any other sport, what it would be. Now, obviously, I think there was a little bit of background in other sports for you, Allie, right? Maybe would you have picked one of those had volleyball not been on the table, or is there another sport that maybe you wanted to try out?
I was really tired of the contact with basketball and soccer, so I'm gonna go with a no contact sport, and I'm gonna say gymnastics.
Wow.
Yeah, definitely.
5'11" gymnast.
Oh yeah, man. Exactly.
I love that though. That's so fun, and it's also not exactly what you'd expect, right? I mean, you get so many of.
We're gonna see it at some point,
It's coming up.
Yeah, we're ready for it.
Some amazing, young woman is going to come out at like 6 feet tall and be doing the flips like Simone Biles, and we're all going to be amazed.
Can't wait for that day to happen. And then, Brynne, kind of same question to you. Just as you've gone through your athletic career, whether it's been looking at other sports and being like, maybe I'd be really good at that, or just something that you perhaps wanted to get into along the way. Was there ever another sport that kind of caught your eye?
Well, I played basketball in high school, but I was diving too much on the floor, so I used to get in trouble. I would either say soccer, because everybody assumed I was already on the soccer team because I was short, or cheerleading, because I think I would make a great flyer. I'm so light.
See, that's so fun because you got answers both gymnastics and cheerleading almost kind of have like a similar vibe to them, especially the way that it's evolved nowadays, where you've seen competitive cheer, where you see those flyers. It's dangerous. They're doing some fun tricks, so those are fun. I can see why you guys get along.
Yeah, be careful, Brynne. Oh wait, is that James from the acro team coming around the corner to try and do
backflips? He just had to do a backflip.
Anything else come in, Paul?
That is just about all I have seen for now. Let me give us just one last refresh before I send it back to you, Jeff. But no, I think that's nice. First segment, a couple of questions, one for the players, one for the coach. Maybe that's something that'll come in as the future goes on. One more time, it's 808-888-5481 if you want to shoot in a text for this week, next week, future shows, or whenever we do end up getting your favorite program here at HPU on the show. Back to you, Jeff.
All right, I'm going to come back with another rapid-fire question. This goes to everybody, but we're going to start with you, Baylei. What's your go-to karaoke song?
Oh gosh, I can't sing to save my life. I would not put myself in
if
that
you had
situation.
to, what would be the song that you would put up and try and deliver, right?
I guess Single Ladies by Beyonce.
Okay.
Because you can do the whole dance with it too,
Well, in an upcoming episode of Sharks Weekly, we are going to break out the karaoke, and we're going to have everybody have to do their favorite song.
I will be sick that day.
All right, Brynne, what's your favorite go-to?
Automatic, it's Love by Keisha Cole.
All right, that's a good one. I could see that for sure. All right, Allie?
Before He Cheats.
Wow.
Is there a meaning behind that song?
Oh, definitely. Will, that's for you. I know.
Oh, man. Will,
Wow.
Shout out.
That's a tough one. If I could get on a karaoke, don't know who sang it, but I think that Top Gun with Tom Cruise, trying to sing up to his lady.
Is it from the first Top Gun? Or
yeah.
What's the name of the song? Did anybody know?
I don't know even the name of the song. It's just something that is pretty
Can
cool.
you sing us a tune?
Huh?
Yeah, give us
Not
a
in
couple.
here. That's why I said.
Can you pick it up
And that's
for
why I
you?
said if I could go on a karaoke, that'd be something be interesting.
All right, Paul. What do you go to?
So you guys know I'm a East Coast guy. I'm a New York guy. Old Blue Eyes, Frank Sinatra, My Way is my go-to for any karaoke.
I love it, and that's one that you can probably do justice.
I like to think so. Me and my grandmother like to do a nice little duet, and I learned the areas I needed to hit.
What about you, Jeff?
Well, I could probably tell you, first of all, it's probably something you'll never see. So you don't want to hear me sing, but if I do try and sing, I have to come out in a lower voice and do something like that's kind of Elvis-y, or, try and do a little Eric Clapton, maybe Promises. Anybody know that song? No? All before your time. All right. Well, that'll be next week's feature. I'm going to... no, I'm not. So I'm not even going to go down that pathway.
Before we get out of here, Jeff, because I know we are running out of time, I do want to just remind the beautiful people who are tuning in that do support these lovely ladies, that we'll have both of their games this weekend. Local rivalry games against Chaminade and UH Hilo Friday and Sunday, respectively. That's going to be presented by Hawaii Pacific Health.
Yep.
Really excited about that one to see these ladies in action.
For sure. And I do want to call out the Dig Pink game coming up on October 26th. What's that all about, Jenic?
It's a fundraiser for breast cancer awareness. We've been doing it for several years now, and it's just something to give back again as a program.
Nice. So, all right. So, all of our listeners, it's an important event. It's on October 26th. It's called Dig Pink. Come out and support the team. You guys will be having an amazing season, I'm sure, as you get things really cranked up here about midway through. Then we'll head into beach volleyball when we head into the spring. So maybe we'll have you back and learn what's happening on the beach, right?
And November 2nd is their senior night. Let's not forget that.
November 2nd.
Yes.
All right, another date to mark. Mark your calendar. Senior night, November 2nd. All right, well, I hear the music playing. That means that our time is coming to an end. It was a fun show, guys. I love talking to you and learning more about libero, whatever. I'm going to...
That'd be good.
I'm going to put the phonetic spelling down. All right, everybody have a wonderful week. Thanks for tuning in.